Okay, so let's talk about the last lesson for your expository essay outline. Okay, so we quickly review we've done so far. We talked about what the expository essay is. We talked about the 5-paragraph format. We talked about how we use an outline. And then we talked about the full outline. These are all parts of lesson 1. And then we started talking about the body paragraphs and how we write topic sentences. And I gave you examples of mine. And then we talked about how you wrote your thesis statement, and we talked about mine. Then in the second lesson, we talked about adding evidence, and we talked about how I went back to those same slides to write sentences that support my topic sentence. And then yesterday, in lesson 3, we talked about the introduction. We had a separate lesson on how to search for song lyrics and quote them. And then we talked about how you put together a hook. Okay, so we have one last lesson to do. Just trying to make sure you can see everything I'm doing. And that is the conclusion. So the conclusion, there's 2 parts. One is a restatement of the thesis, and the other is a something to remember. If you have not already watched my lesson on paraphrasing, you should do that first, because I'm assuming you have done that lesson already. Okay? So the restatement of the thesis is easy. You just take your original thesis, which was you've already written for your introduction. 3 of my important character traits are my dedication to my family, my small town background, and my passion for teaching. So this is how I restated them. I am dedicated to my family. So I just changed the form of dedication. A small town girl. Again, changed some of the wording, but I left it small town because there's not really another word for that. And an enthusiastic teacher. So instead of passion, I used the synonym enthusiastic. And I'm proud of all these. So that's another way of saying these are my important traits. So I used kind of a word for word, almost restatement. The only words I didn't replace are words that you couldn't really replace. Okay, so that was pretty easy. And here is how it looks on my outline. So in my conclusion, I have replaced the words restatement of thesis with that. And then, very last, is maybe the hardest part. So the end of the paper is called the clincher, the closer, or I like to call it something to remember, because this is your very last chance to make an impression on your reader. Now, you're going to write essays on the ACT, you might write them on scholarship applications or college applications, you may even have to write them for job applications. And the people who read them are going to be reading a lot of them. And you want them to remember your essay. You want them to leave with a strong impression of who you are. So there are some good ways to do this. One is to establish the relevance of the topic. You may not have a choice about what you're writing about. So you do a good job if you make it seem like you care about that topic, even if it's not one that you would have chosen. Also, this is a chance to show how the topic is meaningful, and it's meaningful for you, and allow for a connection with the reader. People are inherently selfish in that if they can connect to you and connect to your topic, they will remember it better. So what I'm going to have you do is talk about why these traits still matter. So we're talking about relevance. So I originally had, I am always trying to maintain and improve on my best characteristics. If you meet me, it won't be long until you know all these about me. I decided just while I was writing this lesson, I didn't think that was enough. So I just added this. They guide my decisions on a daily basis and are the criteria for how I make the choices that affect the rest of my life. So what I'm trying to say here is that these aren't things that I write about and never think again. These are like the guiding lights of my life. So I want to make sure that that is established. Okay. So on my outline, I actually need to paste that and add it. Okay. So now this is my completed outline. And if you have gone through all 4 lessons and you used your presentation to do what I have done, you will have a completed outline after today, and you will be ready for Thursday's lesson, where we take all of this and we figure out how to format it as an essay. Okay. So if you can get these done on Wednesday, then I can take a look at them and be ready for our lesson on Thursday morning. So message me if you have any questions. Make sure you watch that paraphrasing lesson as well, and good luck.